Just because you are profitable does not mean you have a successful business. Welcome back to Cash Flow Confidence. I'm Shelby Ashley, and I help business owners feel more confident about their cash flow. So, like I said, just because you have a profitable business does not mean you have a successful business. What do I mean by that? A lot of people think profit is kind of the end game, like, oh, I'm profitable, so, I don't have anything to worry about. But that's not the case because profit is just one piece of the puzzle, the overall puzzle on whether or not you have a successful business or not. I did an episode similar to this several episodes back on why profit does not mean success. And it really talked about, I've seen tons of business owners who are extremely profitable that hate their business and would likely like set it on fire given the chance. But that one was more about, how your business makes you as the business owner feel, because I believe that we all went into business because we wanted a sense of freedom in our lives. But a lot of business owners go into business and they build themselves an even bigger cage than what their previous job had. But I did an episode about that a few episodes back. This episode, I want to talk about things that are a little more tangible that might not mean you have a successful business, even if you are profitable on paper. And so the first of those is you're profitable, but you have no cash. There are several places where your profit is not going to equal what's in your bank account. I did an episode on this. I've probably done several episodes on this actually, on why what you're seeing on your P&L is not at all what you're seeing on your bank account. So I won't go into it too in depth in this one, but the main thing is that I probably see the most is that you've got all these invoices that you've invoiced. And so it's showing up on revenue, it's showing up in your profit, but nobody has paid them. If your customers don't pay you, what's the point of even having those customers? And so that's a situation where you could see a bunch of profit, but you won't see it in your bank account until they pay you. Another thing is if you've got really high debt payments, like you're just in a bad debt structure overall, those debt payments, the principal portion, don't show up on your P&L. So if you're just paying, like shelling out thousands or hundreds of dollars every month in debt payments, you're going to see a bunch of profit, but you're not going that cash is gone. That's where your profit's all going. A third thing, if you carry inventory or you're in like a retail setting of any kind, is you buy all this inventory and then it sits on the shelf forever and doesn't sell. That's where your cash is tied up. And so that's not going to show up on your profit and loss. When it sells is when, you'll see the cash from the profit from when you brought that inventory. And then a final one, I won't go into all of them, that I see is you're taking too much out of the business. So any beyond what you pay yourself on payroll, any business that you take out, any cash that you take out of the business is going to be after your profit. So if you've taken out thousands of dollars this month and you pull a P&L and see that you're like super profitable, that's not showing all the money that you took out of the business. And so when you're profitable but there's no cash, that's an issue. That does not mean you have a very successful business. Profit is not the end game. A second reason that you might not have a successful business, even if you are super profitable, is that you as the owner are not paying yourself very well. So I've seen it happen a lot where the owner is actually like one of the least paid people on their team. A lot of reasons go into this. I've done an episode on owner compensation before. There's a lot of reasons why you as a business owner need to pay yourself a decent wage. And I know it sounds super obvious saying that, but it rarely happens where I see a business owner who is actually paying themselves what they should be paying themselves. And it's likely because number one, you don't feel like you need that much money or anything extra that comes in, you just put right back into the business. Or number two, you haven't given yourself a raise in 5 years, but you're good about giving your team a raise, which is great. But maybe you just kind of sit on giving yourself a raise. And I've said this before, if you were working for somebody else, you would expect at the very least a cost of living adjustment each month or each year at the least. So make sure you're doing that for yourself. And then going back to my previous episode about, what kind of kills the value of a business that looks good on paper. If you as the owner are not paying yourself a marketable wage, that's going to hit the value of your business because any buyer that steps in and sees that you're paying yourself 30 grand to run this business is going to say, no, I'm going to get paid more than that. So that's going to come off the bottom line, this adjustment to my pay. So make sure you're paying yourself well. If you're not, you're going to end up hating your business. You're going to resent it very, very fast because you're going to feel like, well, why am I even doing this? It doesn't even pay me. So make sure you prioritize that. Another thing that might make you look not as successful, even if you do have profit, is yeah, you're profitable, but everything depends on you. That goes back to my previous episode about, enterprise value. If a lot in the business depends on you, that's not very successful because maybe you have a business that does all these things and you're doing like 8 different jobs in the business. That's not good. You as the owner, you need to own kind of the machine that runs on its own, and your job is to oversee leadership and make sure things are running smoothly and be, that visionary. And so if you've got a bunch of jobs in your business, number 1, you're underpaid because you're doing a lot of jobs and only getting paid for one. And then number 2, that's gonna hurt the success of your business because the more that you're in the business doing things, the more you're going to look profitable because you may not be paying a team member to do these things, but it's gonna hurt the success of your business, and it's not a good plan for longevity. Another thing that makes your business not as successful is sure, you're profitable, but it's very, very inconsistent. So maybe last year you had like a 3% loss, and maybe this year somehow you've got like a 10% net profit, and then next year it goes down to like 2%, and you don't know why. That's very inconsistent, and that means that something is broken or something needs your attention and it's not getting it because your profits should be consistent and they should be growing over time. And so if it's just, up and down and you don't know why, that's an issue, which leads me to my next point. Yeah, you're profitable, but it's like on accident. So you might look and see all this profit and you have no idea why. So maybe you pull up a P&L and L and you see, "Oh, I'm like 20% profitable this year." You have no idea why that is. That's not good because that means something is going to creep up that you don't see because you might think, well, the numbers look good, so I'm just going to set it aside. If you see profit and you don't know why you're profitable, figure it out because it could be, that things are running greatly and they don't need your attention. Okay, great. Now I know that. Or it could be a bunch of expenses haven't hit yet that are going to really kill profitability. Or it could be, revenue is about to fall off. Figure it out. So if you are very profitable and you don't know why, that's an issue. So just to reiterate what I said, just because you are profitable on paper does not mean that you have a successful business. So go through all the things we just talked about and check them off and make sure, okay, yeah, I'm profitable, but I want to make sure my business is actually successful too. All right, see you guys next week.